But here I am, 34 years old, divorced, and still replaying the moment my wife Emma casually asked for an open marriage like she was ordering coffee. We had been married for 7 years, living in a quiet suburb in Ohio. We had 2 kids, a dog, weekend barbecues, the kind of life people online call perfect. But that night, everything changed. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a mug of tea, and said she felt trapped. She told me she loved me, but wasn't in love with me anymore. Then came the words that would echo in my mind for years. She thought exploring other connections might actually save us. I remember laughing, a short, sharp sound that filled the quiet room. I was so sure she was joking, testing me or something. But her face didn't change. The expression was serious, almost pleading. When I realized she meant it, the laughter died in my throat. I said no immediately. I told her that's not what marriage is. It's a commitment, not a buffet. She just nodded, apologized, and said she understood. For a few weeks after that, things almost felt normal again. We fell back into our routine, the school runs, the dinner preparations, the shared jokes. I tried to push her words to the back of my mind, telling myself it was just a strange, fleeting thought she'd had, a midlife crisis hitting a little early. I wanted to believe that because the alternative was too terrifying to consider. But soon, the small cracks started to show. She began staying late at work. Her phone, which used to be left on the counter, was now always with her, screen down. She'd smile at texts she wouldn't show me, quickly swiping the notifications away if I came near. I told myself not to be paranoid, that I was the one creating a problem where there wasn't one. I didn't want to be that jealous, controlling husband, so I ignored the gnawing feeling in my gut. I told myself that trusting my wife was the most important thing. That's when a post popped up on my feed from the r_relationship_advice subreddit. The title read, "I am cheating on my husband and I feel guilty." Morbid curiosity got the best of me. I clicked on it. As I started to read, my stomach dropped. Every word was like a punch to the gut. The details were far too specific to be a coincidence. The quiet Ohio suburb, the ages of our 2 kids, even a mention of our golden retriever and his silly habit of stealing socks. The username was unfamiliar, a random combination of letters and numbers. But the voice in the text, the phrasing, the way she described things, it was unmistakably Emma. She wrote about asking her husband for an open marriage, calling it a test to gauge his reaction. She detailed how she had already been seeing a coworker for months, how this other man made her feel alive and exciting. She described her husband me as stable but boring, a good father but a lackluster partner. And then the final blow, she wrote about her plan to leave me as soon as she had saved enough money to be financially independent. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. The room felt like it was spinning. It was one thing to suspect, to feel that something was off, but it was another to see it all laid out in black and white, written for strangers on the internet. I felt like a fool, a clueless, boring fool. That night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I waited until she was asleep and I checked her email. I hated myself for it, but I had to know for sure. And there it was, messages confirming everything, hotel bookings, plans for secret meets, even jokes between her and her coworker about how oblivious I was. The next morning, I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I think a part of me was just too broken for anger. I waited until the kids had left for school and I sat down across from her at that same kitchen table. I didn't say a word. I just unlocked my phone, opened the Reddit post, and slid it across the table to her. Her face went completely white. She looked from the phone, to me, and back to the phone. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry or apologize. She just looked at me with this strange sense of calm and said, "I'm relieved it's finally out." That broke me more than the cheating itself. The lack of remorse, the cold relief in her voice. It was like our 7 years together meant nothing at all. We tried counseling, mostly for the kids' sake. We went through the motions, but the love was gone. It had been replaced by a gaping hole of betrayal and hurt. 6 months later, the divorce was final. She moved in with a coworker almost immediately, and I was left to pick up the pieces of the life I thought we had built. I thought that was the end of the story. I focused on my kids, on my job, on just getting through each day. I slowly started rebuilding, piece by painful piece. Then, about a year later, karma decided to make an appearance. I received a message on Reddit. It was from the same account, her account. She said she'd seen a comment I left on a divorce support thread and recognized my writing style. She told me things with the coworker hadn't worked out. Turns out, he cheated on her too. She wrote about how much she missed our old life, how she missed the stability, the family, the boring but dependable man she had thrown away. She asked if we could talk, maybe meet for coffee. I stared at that message for a long, long time. I thought about the pain, the lies, the humiliation. I thought about the night I read that post, and my world collapsed. If this story hit a little too close to home for you, if you've ever felt that gut-wrenching feeling of betrayal, make sure you subscribe and join our community.